Hello students, I wanted to give you a quick overview on the correct way to do our homework 4 assignment. Basically, to remind you, the assignment is to create a user registration form that is going to record data for two different tables. The first table is going to be the user table, and the second table is going to be the user profile, and this is going to require you to do two insert statements into your database tables. So in order for you to do this assignment, you need to have first completed last week's homework 3 and set up your databases in the phpMyAdmin tool so that you can properly insert your form fields into the database. For this example, I have given you a very streamlined version of the form that we're going to be doing just for the purpose of showing you how to do these multiple insert statements correctly. Okay, so I've got my code up here, and you'll notice at the bottom of the form is the become a member. I've got a form action is calling the same file that we're working on, register.php. It's a post method, that's very important. Then I only have 3 fields. I have the first name, the last name, and the email address. So I don't have a password or confirm password or confirm email address or anything like that. Again, this is very simplified for the purpose of this example. Okay, so as you recall with our forms, we have at the top, we check to see if it's a form submission. So if the server request method is post, it means that the form has been filled out, hopefully, and that it's expecting to process this form data. And we're going to check to see if the first name was entered. If it didn't, we're going to start compiling a list of errors. Same thing with last name, and same thing with email address. So I did not make this a sticky form, but I would like it if you would make yours a sticky form. The part that I really want to show you is what to do, how to handle the database side of your form. The important line number 44 here that says require, so we're not doing an includes, we're doing a require, because if this file doesn't exist, then the page will not process, and you don't want to be able to process any of this if you don't have that MySQL connection file. So I told you earlier this week that you need to create this file, this MySQLi_connect file, before you do this assignment. So if you have not yet created that file, and make sure that you can connect to your database that you've set up through your PHP page, then you need to stop this video right here and go back to the online classroom and read how to do that. It's called Read This First. So I cannot emphasize enough that do not continue this until you know that you can connect to your database, and that when you run that MySQLi_connect.php page, that you don't have any errors. If you have errors, then you need to go back and fix them. Usually it's a typo, you didn't spell something right. For me, when I was playing with it, I had forgotten the I after the MySQL, so pay attention to the code, and if you have errors, you can fix those. Okay, so once you know that that is working, then you can start creating your insert query. So the very first query that we want to do is we want to take all the information that we've collected from the form and put it into the user table. And remember, for this purpose of this example, I'm only using these 3 fields: first name, last name, email, and then I'm inserting the values, which are the form values right here. And I am not inserting the user ID. Remember, the user ID is an auto increment field that we are expecting the database to insert for us automatically. So as soon as the database runs this statement, insert into user, and here are the 3 values that I want you to put in, it's going to automatically take the next available user ID and put that into the database field for user ID. Now, since we also need to enter information into the user profile table, we need to supply that user ID along with the other information like the tagline and the biography and whatever information that you're putting into the user profile table. So after we run the query, so this line here is the actual command, line 48, that runs the query. Line 47 just creates the query. So line 49 says if, and we're calling a function here, MySQLi affected rows. So it's basically saying with that query there should be only one row that was created as a result of that insert statement. So we want to check if the running of that query produced only one record, then we know that everything worked. If it produces 0, clearly it didn't work. So only do this if one record was created. This line 52 is where I set a variable $UID, so that's basically shorthand for user ID. Again, I'm calling a MySQLi function called insertID, and then I'm providing it the database connection. So in this case, I'm saying get me the very last ID that was inserted by the system, and that would be this insert into user statement. So if that happened to be row number 3 for user ID number 3 in your user table, then now UID would have a value of 3. So what I'm doing in this sample, and I'm going to give you the URL for this, is I'm printing a little message. You are now registered. In chapter 12 you'll actually be able to log in, and then I'm providing the variable, what the user ID is, just so you can see how that works. And then after I do that, I'm going to create another query. Insert into user profile, and again, for simplicity's sake here, I'm only inserting 2 fields. I have to provide the user ID, and I'm just hard coding a tagline in here at this point. So again, I'm going to put my variable UID and then my little fake data. And then I'm going to run the query, make sure that that runs, and we're going to go from there, close the database, output any errors, things like that. So to actually run this page, you can do this, follow along with my little example here. It's wcbiz.lbcc.edu _nye_r register.php. Let me just refresh this, and let's put in our information. John Smith. I'm going to click register. And so here we go. Thank you, you're now registered. Your user ID is 14. So if you look in my, hold on, let me pull that page up. If you look in my database table here, let me log back in. And you look at my user table, you will see user ID 14. This is the one we just put in, John Smith, jsmith@lbcc.edu, And if I go back to my database and look at user profile, you will see there's my user ID 14. This is a test. That is what your homework 4 assignment should do. It should enter into 2 different tables, but it needs to grab the user ID that was first input into the user table. And hopefully, using this code, remember this is a video, so you can stop and look at this code at any point, from line 40 to line 73. Those are the lines of codes that you're going to want to modify, but specifically line 51 and 52, where you're actually storing that ID number from the user table. Again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me in the virtual office or to email me, and I am always here to help you out. So if you get stuck on anything, please let me know, and I will try and help you understand the concepts clearer. Okay? Thank you and good luck. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do. Bye.